of the fire, we are protectors. All above, all below, our goddess cycle, energy flows. All above, all below, all as one, together strong. Women of the earth, we are strong. Women of the air, we are infinite. Women of the water, we are healers. Women of the fire, we are protectors. All above, all below, our goddess cycle, energy flows. All above, all below, all as one, together strong.
1, 2. One, two.
All is one, together strong.
So, hi there, everyone. It's lovely to be here in this preparation for Ostara. Welcome to those who have joined me, and it's great to have you here with me tonight. I'm just going to set up a couple of things. So there you go. So I've got all my little banners all set up for tonight, and it's lovely. I've been really looking forward to doing this one. Ostara is a lovely time of year, and has a lot of meaning, which we'll be going through in a little tick. So if you don't know who I am, my name's Harkate, and I'm a witch from the heart of Brigantia. And yeah, I've been on my path for a canny while now, a canny few years to say the least. I probably look not very witchy to those people generally out there, and at the end of the day, what does a witch look like? A lot of people get all dressed up and everything. My hair is usually redder than it is today, but I don't have tattoos and all that kind of thing. Yeah, so I don't look particularly witchy. So, but you know, I started these particular evenings all about just helping people with the wheel of the year a little bit, because there is so much online that is about that tells you exactly what Ostara is, a bit of the history about it. And there's a lot of people just doing the same old thing. You know, they go into ChatGPT and they blurt out a load of the same stuff that ChatGPT has got. Not saying everybody is like that, but there is a lot of that out there. And hopefully this is not that at all. Well, I can tell you it's not ChatGPT, that's for sure. But this is a kind of a way I like to try and think about my own practice. And that's what I would say. This is all about my own practice and what I kind of think. I see my witchcraft as being a spiritual journey. It doesn't necessarily mean walking with the gods or the goddesses or anything like that. Although I do, it's more about seeing the divine and a spiritual element to the whole world around us. So I set these things up so that I can share a little bit of my own practice, and hopefully a little bit of wisdom that I've had over the years, and to share with you guys and help the Wheel of the Year perhaps mean a little bit more to you, or perhaps be a bit of a true guidance, or just like a helpful nudge or a hint, or maybe it's something that you might not have thought of, or been shown of on, you know, TikTok and all those kind of places. So anyway, do say hi in the comments. It's really difficult for me to comment back, but I do try if I can. And just pop your name in there, because if you're in the group, then your name doesn't tend to pop up. But I can see we've got a couple of people on, and I'll be starting in a minute. So we'll just give people a little bit longer. So it's still really cold, isn't it, at the moment? It's still really cold. I do remember a few years back we still had snow in April. So we're only in May, so there's still time. Hey. But so let's have a look. I've got no comments in yet. I hope you can all hear me. Do let me know if you can hear me. That would be a really good comment to make, if you could actually do that, just to make sure that you can hear me okay. And if you do have any questions throughout the evening, do pop your questions in as well, and I shall answer them to the best of my knowledge. And again, like I said, anything that resonates with you, you know, take it away with you. Anything that doesn't resonate, just put it on the back burner. Perhaps it might do later on, or perhaps it's just not for you. But that's the whole thing about walking a pagan path, or a nature-based spirituality, isn't it? It's that we can actually pick up things, drop things that don't resonate with us, that don't twig with who we are as an individual, and we can just take on board what we want to take on board. And that's why I like doing what I do, definitely. So anyway, we've got a couple of comments, so let's have a look. Yes, thank you. It's Emma, by the way. Hi, Emma. It's lovely to see you. Yeah, if you're on the group, honestly, your names don't come up. If you were to answer on my Facebook or my personal profile, because I think this gets sent out to that, and YouTube as well, I do actually see those messages. But yeah, so that's a little bit about me. I've just completed my second degree a few months ago, and yay, I'm allowed to do weddings and hand fastings and things like that now, which is great. So any takers? But anyway, shall we get started? Where am I? Yeah, so why don't you let me know what comments in the comments the path that you walk. Are you new? Have you been walking your path for a canny while? Are you walking a particular path? Are you Wiccan or heathen or Christian or anything like that? If not, it doesn't matter. I'm just curious. Yeah, here. And what's your favourite drink? Hi, Jane. It's lovely to have you here. It's great to have you here with us. So yeah, what's my favourite drink? Alcoholic-wise, it's gonna have to be vodka. I do like mead as well, but in the non-alcoholic line, I actually really enjoy kombucha, which I make myself, and it's lovely. Just honey and tea, and then it gets fermented slightly, and it's beautiful. It's a lovely drink, and it's good for your tummy as well. So if you've never tried it, I would give it a go. It's really good. So I walk a Wiccan path, but I'm also walk a Druidic path. It's probably more Druidic than it is Wiccan, although I'm a Wiccan priestess. So yeah, that's a little bit more about me. So we're a few minutes in now. I think it's time to open circle. Oh, I always open circle. Opening the circle is just a little time where we can kind of join our energies together and just focus on one another. It offers us a little bit of protection, but it also offers us a little bit of unity as well. So, and at this time, I like to light my candle. You probably can see at times there's some smoke wafting. I've got the incense going as well. So, yeah. So that's the open circle. So I'll just light the candle. From east on the mighty wing be spread, while spirits of the air and storm, from south with flaming aspects dread, let fiery guardians take their form. From western seas with tossing foam, O watchers issue from the deep. From northern shades, from beds of loam, let gods and goddess vigil keep. O elements receive our call, and power gather into sight, and build our mighty towers tall to ring us from the world this night, and guard this circle across this land, where we are met to work our hand. Okay, the circle is open. So those of you that have been on my podcast, you know I like to open with a small meditation, and we're going to start with a very small meditation. It's just a mindfulness thing. It's going to be a couple of minutes long. So and then we'll get started on the Ostara. I hope you've got your notes, but if you haven't downloaded the notes or gone and got them, then don't worry. You know, grab yourself a pen and paper and write along with them, and the questions that I'll ask at the end, you can write those down as well and work in your own time leading up to Ostara on the March 21st. So let's start our starting meditation. So we're going to be taking 3 deep breaths. And when we take those, we're going to take those breaths. We're going to breathe in health and vitality and energy. And when we breathe out, we just focus in our mind, and we're breathing out negativity, bad health, and negative thoughts. Okay, so just sit up straight with your hands in your lap and your feet firmly on the floor. And just take a moment and just close your eyes. And we're going to breathe in for 4, 2, 3, 4, and exhale for 4, 2, 3, 4. And breathe in for 4, 2, 3, 4. And exhale for 4, 2, 3, 4. And breathe in for 4, 2, 3, 4. And breathe out for 4, 2, 3, 4. Now with your eyes closed, just take a moment to listen to your breath. Focusing on what you feel as your chest rises and drops with every breath. Feel the air moving through your nose and into your lungs. Now just focus on what you hear and you smell. Knowing that you're in the present now. And know that you are safe and that you are comfortable and that you are ready to receive. So we're just going to take another 3 deep breaths. So breathe in for 4, 2, 3, 4, and breathe out for 4, 2, 3, 4. Breathe in for 4, 2, 3, 4, and breathe out for 4, 2, 3, 4, and last one, in for 4, 2, 3, 4, and exhale for 4, 2, 3, 4. Fantastic. Just give yourself a little bit of a wiggle. And we'll begin. So it's lovely to be here with you all. I've got a comment here. Blimey, being on the path forever, for interested in Bible initially, to a still pervading fascination with the East, then to spiritualism, and over the last few years or so, an interest in the natural world and witchcraft. Jane here. Hi Jane. Yeah, that is. I mean, I was also on the Christian route as well, originally, and yeah, it just didn't fit the model or my lifestyle anymore. Even what I believed, there wasn't enough inclusion for other people and the way other people think, and I didn't like that. So witchcraft is absolutely brilliant in that side of things. So it's lovely to have you here, Jane. So this Ostara, yeah, it's an amazing time of year. I'm going to read out some of this as well as talking. So these are also my notes that you read as well. So I'm just going to say, Hail Ostara, the vernal equinox, and so we stand at the precipice of the perfect equilibrium, where day and night converge, guiding us in a lush realm of fertility and abundance and new growth. The pulse of life quickens within us, and as we witness the trees, blossoms, and leaves unfurl, a vibrant testament to stirring vitality around us. In this moment that we pay homage to the graceful interplay of light and shadow, beckoning the essence of balance into our existence. Quite proud of what I wrote there. But anyway, yeah, it really is a real balancing time right now in Ostara for us, isn't it? We've just been through a really dark period of winter and the shortest days, and now the days are getting longer and we're getting a bit more time in the mornings, and perhaps we're going to work in the daylight now and coming home in almost daylight, or daylight maybe, watching the sunrise and the sunset maybe as we're going to work, and which is beautiful. But we can also see the buds in the trees and the flowers and everything like that. And one of the reasons why I love to do these sets, but one of the reasons why I like the Word of the Year in particular, is that as we're on a nature-based path, we are nature ourselves. And so we can actually look on the Wheel of the Year and what's happening around us to tell us how we should be at this time. You know, during winter, we're not full of all busy. We're actually chilling out a little bit and just taking a bit of time. Now things are starting to get moving. Perhaps we've already started our spring cleaning. Perhaps we're getting a little bit kind of a little bit sexy. It's just the natural vibes of the world and this time of year that brings us into that period. And and Ostara really highlights that. When we look around, there's little lambs on the fields and the hares are actually bounding around the place. The butterflies are starting to show, and it's just a beautiful time just to stop and listen and to see what's going on in the world around us. Because by doing that, we can actually encompass that in our own lives. Those of you that know that I like the nature and to be out in nature. And these sessions are very much written about the way I kind of try to live my life. I don't always do it. I wish I did. But I do try to listen and take inspiration from the world and what's happening with the world around us. Our busy lives are so busy, just generally with what I call the world, that our spiritual world kind of gets lost. But going back to nature and what's happening actually helps us with that. We've got the balance of light and dark again. So this is a great time in Ostara to actually start perhaps looking at doing a little bit of shadow work. We've done some shadow work or looking at the negative parts of our lives over the winter period. It's easy to look at those sort of things, really dwell on them over the winter period, right? But actually in this period now, we've got this turning point of how are we going to be able to turn things around for us. And at the last full moon thing, I actually sort of talked about what are we going to do? What one thing are we going to do for ourselves that helps us to move forward with our own lives? And now is a perfect time to actually be doing that. So I'll go back to me words. In resonance with our ancestors who revealed in the earth's blessings, we immerse ourselves in the colour of nature's rebirth. Ostara bids us to honour the fertile soil and to embrace the essence of fresh beginnings. It is an opportunity or an opportune time to nurture the seeds of our inborn dreams and fostering and nurturing to bring about a colourful bloom in the near future. So if you did the Imolk one of these a few weeks ago, then perhaps you might have taken something that to work with. And I always tell people not to make their what's it called, New Year's resolutions until Imolk, because Imolk is a good time to actually make those resolutions. Spend a bit of time, looking at yourself, looking at your body, looking at your lifestyle, and then actually one thing. And in Imolk, that one thing. But now in Ostara is the time to start working on that a little bit more, starting to water it. We've got the spring rains starting to come. Not here just yet. We've still got a bit of cold that is keeping everything suppressed a little bit. But it's time to kind of just start nurturing and start allowing those seeds and those that you had during Imolk to actually start to allow them to gain their roots. I hope that makes sense to you all. Again, do leave comments if I can actually, I will answer if I can. So during this time of our Ostara, we exalt the goddess of spring, Ostara. Her potential symbols of, or potent symbols of fertility and resurgence, moving forwards, not holding back. It's not a time to actually look at past. The past is really good. That's why we talk about our ancestors here. You know, we can give our ancestors our times and our woes. We can talk to them, and we can actually ask them for loving guidance. But the wheel of the year and the moon cycles as well are all about moving forwards. It's about putting whatever was on past in the past. Don't get me wrong, it's all part of our personalities and the way we've turned out today. I've turned out pretty good. I've had some shit happen in my life, and I'm pretty sure everybody on here today has had some shit happen in their lives too. But we need to, I find that working with the wheel of the year teaches me to not forget it, but to move on from it. You know, re-plow those fields and re-sow new seeds to allow new things to grow in those fertile soils. Whatever we got rid of in Imbolc and during Yule as well, you know, we've now got land, we've now got ground, and we can plant new things in for ourselves. We don't spend enough time on ourselves. This world always tells us that we that if we think about ourselves, then we're being selfish. And I am going to say that's a load of bunkum. I think if you were to do it to the detriment of other people, then perhaps people could say they're being selfish. And a lot of people talk about being selfless. And I think that's right as well. We do need to do that in our own lives. But we also need to do stuff for ourselves to keep our spiritual paths moving and to keep us growing and to keep us saying goodbye to the old and bringing in what's new, what we've learned from last year, what we've learned from 10 years ago. And nature tells us to do this, and Ostara is particularly a good time to be focusing on that. The trees have said goodbye to last year and they're bringing out their new buds. You know, it's the way the world works. So the best way to honor Ostara is celebrating her fertile aspects in our own lives, and nurturing self-affection. Do we do that? No, nowhere near as enough as we should be doing it. We should be taking that bath, if we do baths, you know, at least once a week. We should be spending a little bit of time perhaps with, let's bring this into light with one of, there you are. Spend a little bit of time with a candle and a flame, perhaps. It doesn't need to be time at all, but we need to have a little bit of self-time, self-affection, and we need to use that time to foster the growth that is within ourselves and those dear to us. By looking after ourselves and nurturing ourselves, we can actually serve our families and our friends and the people we love much better than if we just let everything build up and build up and build up on top of us until we break. And you know, I've been there, I've done that, but nature keeps telling me, Lucy, Hakate, just stop that. Go down to the river, let those you know, let that river wash over you and wash all that negativity away and start afresh. So as daylight stretches, it embraces and nature arouses from its slumber, and we take delight in the gentle caress of the sun rays. Have any of us been out there since the sun's been getting longer in those really cold, fresh mornings? Because it's absolutely beautiful. I'm going to be taking a few pictures of the frost. I'm going to get up. I think I was going to go today, but I think I'll go tomorrow because I didn't do it today. So I'll go tomorrow, and I'm going to try and get some pictures of the fells. Hopefully they'll be frosty, and that will be beautiful. Maybe get the roe deer if I'm really lucky. Hi Sharon, it's lovely to have you with us. I hope your signal stays in as well. This moment of the wheel of the year offers us a chance to attune ourselves to the surge of energy that exists at this time of year, stimulating evolution and transformation within. May we persist in our acts of purification and cleansing, shedding the burdens of yesteryears to embrace the revitalizing essence of new beginnings. Imbolc was the start of the new beginnings things, but it was very much working with shadows as well. But Ostara, we're starting to move on from that. You'll notice they do overlap actually. So the next one will be another overlap as well, and it's but now is a real time for new beginnings. This is the time of the silver birch for those of you into your trees, and the silver birch is all about new beginnings. I think it was the silver birch meditation I did the other week. If not, yeah, I think it was. I might actually do that one again for this new moon coming up on Sunday. I've got a new moon evening coming up on Sunday, so do join me for that if you would like to. So yeah, let's move on a little bit. Let's actually move on to the correspondences here. I shall put the correspondences. Oh, that's such a hard word to say. Up on the screen. So there you go. I need to make them a bit bigger. No, I don't, so I can see them. Yeah, so these is a way. So the way these correspondences work are the things that kind of are useful at this time of year of the season of Ostara. Which these notes and everything that I'm talking about now is in preparation for the 21st of March. So we've got a little bit of time to go yet. So this is good preparation for everybody. And these correspondences are for then, or for you to prepare for yourself. Maybe perhaps you do an altar, perhaps you like to you worship a particular god or a goddess, and you'd like to give a blessing to them, or some kind of what's it called when you give something? I've forgotten, the words elude me sometimes. Just gonna put me new. There you go. Little flamethrower, getting that sorted. Yeah, so so the general themes and symbols for this time of year is Ostara celebrated as the spring equinox, time of equilibrium between day and night, and encapsulates the essence of the equilibrium of rejuvenation, fertility, and growth, and the vibrant awakening of nature It marks a harmonious balance between day and night, and fostering a day of balance that beckons introspection and invokes inner harmony. So when we're setting up our things to on our altars, these are the kind of ideas that we are looking at for Ostara, for ourselves, to work on. You can't work on them all at once. Like I say, just pick one thing and but really focus on that one thing. Make it really personal for you, and that way you don't get overwhelmed, because sometimes when we're dealing with stuff or we're trying to move on, one thing is just enough. Especially with someone like me with my autism, I tend to kind of get blown away by loads of different thoughts and loads of different ideas, and then I don't get anything done at all, or I forget to do stuff. But one thing is a lot easier to focus on. So this time of year, we see it all the time, don't we? The eggs, hares and rabbits and butterflies and seeds, flowers, the symbols of the sun, feathers for the air, and baskets and lambs and rainbows. Season of a rainbow. I've seen loads, actually. Those rainbows in the clouds, they are awesome, aren't they? I love to walk, especially in the mornings. Yes, but not mindfully. Yeah. I guess that's the thing. There is when we do stuff, is to remember to do it mindfully. It's really difficult thing to do, though, isn't it? To train ourselves to kind of to see and listen and ask nature what nature has for us. But that's what the Wheel of the Year is all about. You know, it's all about saying to us, well, okay, this is the time of year for you to, like, this is the broad topic that I am showing you. This is what's happening in the natural world. What are you going to take from that? And you can actually walk with it in spiritual steps, if you like. Oh, I like that. I might nick that. How can I nick it? It's mine. But I might keep that, spiritual steps, and walk in those each time, just once a week. Try to do it a couple of times a week. You know, it makes all the difference to your to one's life. Well, it does mine anyway. It's one of the reasons why I'm so calm all the time. And people say that I have a particular presence about me. And I think that's because I try to do that as often as possible. And that really helps me. So the plants and animals that are revered, botanical allies, weave the story of Ostara, symbolizing renewal, fertility. Again, you can see this coming up at time and time again, and fresh beginnings in nature's dance of awakening. The daffodils are coming up. I actually saw a couple of narcissi actually flowering the other day, so I should have taken those. Tulips are starting to come up. The primroses and the primulas are already up and out, aren't they? Lilacs, also the crocuses, they're already out, aren't they beautiful as well? Dandelions are starting to show their leaves. Woodruff and the violets. It's a little bit early for the wood violets, I think, but they're beautiful, aren't they? The willow. A lot of people don't think about the willow and this being the time of year for the willow, but I think it's a lovely tree for this time of year because it's a bendy. That's the only way to describe it, really. It's a bendy tree, isn't it? And it's quite strong, and it's really quite difficult to break. But it does, like the silver birch, it kind of bows in the wind, doesn't it? And it kind of has a lot of resistance. And I guess Ostara is a lot about that animal milk. There's a lot about that. It's about the resistance of taking on board what is like a lot of crap for us, but that resistance bounces back, and with that bounce back we're able to move on. So a promise of spring's rejuvenation, embrace, and cycle of new life. So again, hares and rabbits, birds. The bird song is immense at the moment, isn't it? It's absolutely immense. The butterflies, like I said, lambs, the bees are starting to come out, the snakes. Yep. So if you live in a snake area, which more down south for us, but then we do get adders and things like that up here. I don't know. Do we get grass snakes up here? I don't know if we do. I know they do down south. I just saw my first ladybugs the other day, my ladybirds. The frogs are starting to come out as well, and the ducks too. So there's a lot at the moment that we can be looking on to actually be learning and looking at these in a mindful way. So stones and colours. Yeah, there are certain stones that resonate with the energies, rejuvenation, expansion, equilibrium, and awakening of inner potentials. Clear quartz is a firm favourite of mine. Actually, it's just over there. I'll go and get mine and I'll show you. Yeah, so this was a gift. This was gifted to me by another witch that said they don't use it, and it was gifted to them. And it's a lovely, I hope you can see that. I think you can. Yeah, you can. Yeah, yeah. So it's a lovely termination point. It's amazing. There's like loads of little. No, it's there you are. There you go. It's a lovely crystal, full of energy, and you can really feel that it's a cleansing. It's a cleansing crystal, full of healing energy as well. Moonstone and jaspers. Jaspers are great for protection. Aquamarine, green aventurine, citrine. That's actually one of my favoritists. Is the citrine. I've just made glacial willow, lovely to weave with, Sharon. Oh yeah, you know what? That is something that I've never done, Sharon. I've never weaved with willow, but what a perfect time to actually be doing that now is weaving with willow. It's a perfect time for that. Yeah, definitely. So the colours that resonate with this time of year is pastel colours and bright greens and yellows, purples, pinks, light blues, lavenders, whites, soft oranges, and kind of the sky blues. They're all colours that we actually see now. If you think of all the colours of the different they were over there somewhere, of the different crocuses that we see. That's all the colours of today, of Ostara. All these things we can actually use to dedicate a little bit of time to the season, and decorating our altars or a space. It doesn't have to be an altar, just decorating a small space in a mindful way and choosing things that are particularly relevant to you, and perhaps they've got hold a particular meaning. Perhaps something can be just the stone, but if that stone has a particular meaning and you're using that in a mindful way, perhaps saying, I've got something that is not moving inside me that needs to be gone, you know, perhaps during Ostara, that's the time to actually put a stone into, I just thought of this. So perhaps you could put that stone in the directly after the full moon. Yeah, so now would be okay to do that. And then put it out there saying, I want this gone, whatever that symbolizes to you. And then leave that outside during the whole of the full moon. Bring it inside, put it onto your altar or onto a mantelpiece or whatever, and leave it on there in the light so that hopefully it can get the light of the new moon. So it's bringing energy and everything into there. So the after the full moon, as it wanes and becomes darker, it takes away energy. And when the full moon is coming back after the new moon, it's bringing back up energy. So you're actually taking something away, saying, I'm dealing with this. And then the new moon, by the new moon, it's ready to be done with, and then you can just get rid of it. So perhaps that's something that you might want to do for Ostara. You can do that with water, you can do that with flowers, dried flowers, incense, anything that you particularly want to use yourself. Eggs are a particularly good time. There's a reason why they are used and why the Christians nick them from pagan people, because that is the ultimate sign for fertility, isn't it? It's a sign of new hope, new life, growth, new birth, rebirth of something else. And is a perfect example for that. And we're going to be using that in our meditation, our major meditation in a minute. So the last things is foods. And I really enjoy having particular foods for particular times of year. And so decorating eggs is simple, a symbol. Decorating eggs is an age-old tradition. South, we had somewhere called Butser Hill, and it was an amazing place, and they had a tradition that was supposed to go back a lot longer than a few hundred years, but it had been going on for a few hundred years anyway, and that's an egg rolling competition. Yeah, thousands, and I mean thousands of people would turn up to Butser Hill. They would decorate their eggs whilst they're at Butser. So, the community would all get together, kids, adults. It was a lot of fun. We would all walk up to the top of this massive, great big hill. And then you had to roll your egg down the hill. And the furthest one got a mention in the local rag, so in the local paper, nothing more than that. But it was a real tradition to actually say, right, okay, let's roll this downhill, let's get rid of something, and if it breaks, then it's braked and it's gone. If it's gone, rolls the furthest, then you can actually see that as energy that's been building up, and it hasn't broken, but it's being dealt with, or has been dealt with, just by that release and rolling it down the hill. You weren't allowed to lose it. You weren't allowed to throw the egg. It had to be rolled. Messy. It was so much fun. So much fun. So I've already talked about communing with nature on serene walks, conducting equinox ceremonies, adorning with floral crowns, which is fun. I love to do that, actually. Lighting sacred bonfires, enacting rituals of balance, and sharing abundance feasts with friends and family, and reveling in outdoor activities, festivities, because, it's starting to get a bit warmer now. We can do that. So the foods that are abundant for now are eggs and honey, fresh fruits, leafy greens and sprouts, dairy products, herbs, nuts, sweetbreads, spring vegetables, honey cakes, hot cross buns, which were a pagan invention before the Christians got hold of them again. So they have a lot to answer for, these Christian people. They really do. So there's a lot there to think on. And again, it's just a case of being mindful about this time of year. What is nature telling us? And how can we ourselves embrace our season of Ostara and move on from the shadow time of the year into a lighter time of the year for us. Always remember, though, that with more sun and the brighter it gets, the darker the shadows get. So sometimes if something's not being dealt with, then that shadow can actually seem darker. But it's actually not. It's just the same, but it's actually smaller. It's just darker. So so just something to bear in mind if you do decide to do any shadow work at all. And I hope that has all kind of resonated or helped with your own path and giving you ideas of what you might be able to do. I'm not going to tell you you have to do this, that, or the other. That's not what these sessions are about. These sessions are about helping you to kind of, you know, embrace the season and embrace the wheel of the year for the tool that really is to show us how to walk the path that we are on. And each one of us, our paths is different and individual. Okay. So I've gone over all of that. Seasons Awakening. Okay, so I think it's time for us to do our main meditation now. So let's go over to, oh no, I've got rid of everything. There it is. Click, click, click. I was all prepared, and then all my preparations keep on messing me up. There you go. I'm there. Yay, I'm there now. So before we move on to the final questions, let's do a meditation for Ostara. And this meditation, so in today's meditation, we will be focusing on season, obviously. It is a feminine. Actually, before we go into this, there is one thing that I really, really do want to stress, is that whilst we talk about Ostara being about fertility, and obviously it's about fertility of a male and a female, but it doesn't necessarily have to mean that either. It's the fertility of bringing something new and giving, not even giving birth, but giving life to something new. And that can be an idea, it can be a new project, it can be absolutely anything. But a lot of us, especially us women, we get stuck on the fertility thing, and it doesn't necessarily mean that. However, it can do for some people. It depends on what stage of life you're at. This is very much the maiden stage of life. It's Ostara, so you do kind of think of life and vitality and trying to get pregnant and all those kind of things. But it's not necessarily just about that. But anyway, we'll move on to our Ostara meditation. So we'll focus on the seasons, the feminine. It's a feminine festival, releasing healing, it's empowerment and creation to life, bringing creation into life and into our own particular magic. So let's get the, I've got some particular music I like to put on for this. Let's get that on. Okay, so that's all there. Hopefully that's playing. Yeah, it is. Okay. Fab. Okay, so I'd like you to again just sit up straight and light your candle, perhaps focus on the flame for a little bit. And we will now prepare our bodies and our minds. And either close your eyes or just focus if you've got a flame there, and take a moment, like we did in the first meditation. Just notice the sounds in the room that we're in. I'd like you just to put your feet firmly on the floor and just rock them backwards and forwards a couple of times, and dig your toes into the ground and really root your feet in place. Now I'd like you to pop your hands on your knees or in your lap with your hands facing upwards, with your palms facing upwards. And just notice your breathing. Don't change it, just notice your breathing. Just really just notice your breathing, don't change it at all. If you've got your candle and you're staring at your candle now, just place it down and close your eyes as well. And now we're going to take 3 deep breaths. And with each deep breath, we're going to look deeper into ourselves and feel the worries and the stress dissipating with every exhale. And that's going to rush down our bodies, out of our legs, and through our feet and our toes that are firmly on the ground. So I want you to take a long deep breath for the count of 4. 2, 3, 4, and exhale for 4. 2, 3, 4, and inhale for 4. 2, 3, 4, and exhale for 4. 2, 3, 4, and inhale for 4. 2, 3, 4, and exhale for 4. 2, 3, 4. In your mind's eye, I want you to picture you walking in a dense forest. The sky is overcast and the woods are gloomy, although occasionally a feeble ray of sunlight makes its way through the clouds and the trees. The branches on the trees are bare, although the tips are just beginning to bud. Old leaves from last year's fall scurry about your feet as an occasional gust of wind blows about them. The ground is for the most part bare, with the occasional squidge of mud underneath your feet from the recent storms. You see hints of green life making their way up through the mud and through the leaves on the floor ground. And as you walk, you notice a grove of beautiful white birches. A pale glint of their trunks and branches is a pleasing contrast to the otherwise dark woods. And you walk towards the birch grove. You pause as you get to the edge of the little grove. And you take a big deep breath for 4, 2, 3, 4, and you exhale for 4, 2, 3, 4, and you walk into it. When you are surrounded by the birches, you notice a large tree that looks as if it has been struck by lightning. Its upper trunk has been split into 2. The inner wood has been exposed to the air, and the dead leaves have blown their way into the nooks of the tree. In every way, this tree looks as dead as it can be. You take a little sigh, and then you take a big deep breath for 4, 2, 3, 4, and you exhale for 4, 2, 3, 4. For some reason you look up from the tree and you are surprised to find a woman present. She is clad all in white and holds a covered basket in her arms. Her gaze is steady, and her eyes make you think of clear streams running in the middle of the old forest. Her skin reminds you of the first fair flowers of spring, and her hair is long and unbound. And at her feet sits a small brown hare, nuzzling the hem of her skirt. She gestures, indicating that you should come forward, and you walk towards her as she points at her basket and lifts the cloth. Inside you see an astounding array of coloured eggs, all colours and all patterns. You can think nothing better than to pick one of these beautiful eggs and have it for your very own. And your hand reaches out, but she shakes her head, no, and you realise that while she wants you to have an egg, she wants you to pick it unsighted. So you close your eyes and you reach out your hand and you reach into the basket. With your eyes still closed, you draw your hand back, holding the egg, clasping it in both hands. And you open your eyes to look at the egg. You open your hands. What does it look like? Think to yourself what the decoration on the egg means, and why Ostara wants you to have this particular gift for the coming of spring. Take a little bit longer to look at your egg. Notice the colours, the patterns. Notice the size. Is it smooth? Is it bobbly? Does the egg look a little bit porous? After you have looked at your egg, you raise your head to thank the goddess, but she is gone. And you look for her in vain, but she's not around. And you take another sigh and another deep breath for 4, 2, 3, 4, and exhale for 4, 2, 3, 4. And you wonder if it's all been a dream. The reality of the egg in your hand tells you otherwise, and you know you have received the blessing of the goddess Ostara. And then you hear a fleeting whisper in the wind. don't forget you're in the season of the maiden life and vitality is yours. During Imbolc, you have been preparing yourself for new things and new horizons, ready to sow a seed, ready to create. Now is the time to sow and nurture. And then the whisper is gone. And you look back at your egg, and in your mind's eye you thank the goddess. You take a big deep breath in for 4, 2, 3, 4, and you exhale for 4, 2, 3, 4. And your attention now starts to move yourself onto the forest. And you realize that the trees now have tiny but beautifully formed green leaves at the ends of their branches. The trees have all started budding and showing signs of life. And you notice that the birch tree struck by lightning, the one that looked dead, now has green shoots rising from its split trunk. As you make way out of the birch grove, it seems the clouds have lightened. And even as you think this, the sun comes out. Small, barely formed flowers lightly scent the forest floor, and the birds now singing, and the rich smell of moist air fills your nose. As you make your way out of the forest, you wonder how you have found this place gloomy in the first place. It seems so alive now and pleasant to walk through. And with that thought, you feel a tingling sensation through your body. And you know it's time to return. And you start to feel the heartbeat inside your chest. Looking back to the birch woods, you thank the goddess Ostara for your gift. And you take a deep breath for 4, 2, 3, 4. And you inhale for 4, 2, 3, 4. And you say farewell until next time. We're now just going to finish with 3 counts. So take a big deep breath for 4, 2, 3, 4, and exhale slowly for 4, 2, 3, 4. Take a long breath for 4 counts. 2, 3, and 4. And inhale for 4, 2, 3, 4. And inhale for 4, 2, 3, 4. And exhale for 4, 2, 3, 4. Brilliant. Well, when you're ready, open your eyes and give your arms a bit of a shake, and give your legs a bit of a shake, and give your body a bit of a wobble and a bit of a shake as well. If you've got your piece of paper there, I would take some notes about what you saw. Did you see anything? Did you smell anything? Was there anything that gave a particular symbol to you within that meditation? What was the colour of the eggs? Did you see eggs? Some people might not have. You might have seen maybe a shining light in your hands. There is no wrong or right answer here. What did you see? And perhaps if you already know the meaning, then write it down. Don't forget it, and use it to help be an inspiration for when your Ostara comes and it's time to celebrate. If you fancy sharing, then do feel free to share in the comments, and I shall have a look as well. So we are going to go over to the questions. So here we go. So question, what is my focus for the season of Ostara? Now with these questions, it's really important that you don't think about them too hard and just say the first thing that comes out of your mind, just bang. You know, we often think about these questions too much or whatever, and quite often the right answer is actually the first thing that comes into our minds. And it's really important to be honest. So what is my focus for the season of Ostara? So if you actually think about everything that we talked about today, the correspondences that I've talked about, in the meditation as well, all these things will help you answer these questions as well for you personally. I'll give you another couple of minutes on those. I do enjoy doing those meditations. Oh, well, that's interesting. You had a first egg and then a second egg. That's really interesting. Turquoise is such a pretty colour, isn't it? It's such a pretty colour. I actually don't know what the colour turquoise and its correspondences are. So, you'll have to let me know, or I will go away and I shall actually have a look up on that. It's not a colour that I've actually tried to look up before. I'm presuming it will be similar to the similar meaning to the turquoise, the stone. I don't know what that one means either. It's not a stone that I use myself. So that was Jane with the 2 eggs. You greedy thing. No, not at all. Not at all. So that's brilliant. But maybe one was one, and the second one was to replace the other one. Perhaps just a thought. So maybe that color is to replace the old and in with the new. Perhaps just a thought. So let's go on to question number 2. Which is in here. Question number 2. What ways to celebrate Imbolc resonate with me the most? So bearing in mind what you just written about the focus for the season, what celebrates? I put Imbolc. I forgot to change it. I meant Ostara, of course. So for Ostara, what resonates with you the most out of everything there, and how will that help you to celebrate Ostara? Here's hoping. Yeah, let's hope. Let's hope, definitely. I think for you, Jane, perhaps those eggs are actually really symbolic for you, and have a bit of a meditation on what each of those might mean for you. So, what ways to celebrate Ostara resonates with me the most? So for me, spring cleaning is always a big one for me. I like to spring clean not only just the house but myself, and I tend to like to look at myself. I tend to go down to the rivers quite a lot. We have the Conburn River here, and I stick my feet in it quite often. I like to do that during Ostara. I do it throughout the year, to be honest with you, but Ostara I particularly enjoy doing that. So that's something I will do. I do actually put a pot of honey on the on my altar, and from that pot every day. It's only during Ostara I do this, but every day I dip my finger into the honey and I put a little bit on my lips, and it just reminds me of the sweetness of what's to come. You know, the bees will be producing. It's all about hope for me, and the bees will be producing all this honey, and the sweetness and the joy that honey brings to me. And I put it on my lips. It just reminds me at the beginning of each day, after I've had my drink of water from my altar, which I do every day as well. So that's something that I'll be doing. So I'll go on to question 3. How can my energy be best harnessed for new growth now? This is quite a tricky question, isn't it? I think. But when you combine them with the first two, like what will your focus be? What resonates for you for celebrating Ostara? And what energy? So this is really talking about energies that kind of get zapped away. Why do they get zapped away? What is it that you need to do to help? Do you need to actually just claim back 5 minutes a day of your time for yourself? It could be as simple as that. Could it actually be something more that you need to do for yourself? Only you'll know that. But be honest with yourself. These don't have to be answered today, but just put a quick thought down. We've got 2 weeks for Ostara before Ostara comes. So I think you've had enough time to go on to that. And the last question, which is, what areas in my life need to bear balance at this time? So what do you feel is out of keel, out of equilibrium in your own life? Is there something that you can actually do to rebalance yourself? You can see how this all works together. And this is the way the wheel of the year works. It doesn't work against you or anything like that. It's perfectly to help us be in sync with ourselves, with nature, with the coming tides, the moons, the seasons. Okay, so So we're actually going to be drawing this evening to a close. It's been brilliant. Thank you so much for everybody being here. These particular notes are available on my Patreon, which is just /Harkatay Green. So patreon.com/Harkatay and they're in the shop. If you do sign up to my Patreon, to the pot stirrer extraordinaire, then that you'll get those notes for completely free anyway, but they're only £4 for the notes, and over the year they actually build up to make a really nice booklet that you can print out yourself, and then you've got a story, and you can see how your life has progressed as you've worked through this whole year. And just really focusing on the divine kind of inspiration that nature gives us, and how it's changed and transformed your life, and the way, perhaps maybe the way you think about things a little bit as well. So but that's up to you. You don't have to go and do that. I will, every time I will be doing what I've done tonight and just walking through everything. So yeah, so thank you very much, everyone. I'm going to close the circle now. If you've got any questions, let's do that first. Have you got any questions for me? Because I do have a couple of minutes. If you have any questions, that will be great. Just pop them down. They do seem to take a little while to get here. But keep them coming. So for me, something that I find really, really difficult is I struggle with friendship and other people, and that sounds really weird, right? But if I'm friends with somebody and I don't hear from them for a little while, I realise that it doesn't actually mean that they're not friends with me or whatever, but I personally struggle with thinking, oh, they don't like me anymore, or whatever, and that is something that I've worked through. It's something that I've tried to get rid of for years and years and years, and one day I will, but it's just something that niggles in the back of my mind, and I'm going to work on that this Ostara. I think it's my kind of my feeling like, oh, I'm not liked anymore by a particular friend because they've not contacted me. So that's something I'm going to personally be working on, and I will probably set that in place for the new moon coming up on Sunday, I think it is. So okay, let's close circle. Let's remove that one and add that one. There you go. And let's get rid of that one. There you go. So I'm just going to hold my candle up and just close circle. It's been absolutely brilliant today. Thank you so much, everybody who's joined us today, and I hope you found everything really useful. So from north and south we bid you fade, O guardians who watched this night. South and earth, east, pass back the shade that's witnessed in your sacred sight. O ye divine whose names we hail, we bid you fond and true farewell. So mote it be. So thank you very much. So circle is now closed, and that's the end of the evening, but it's been absolutely brilliant. I've really enjoyed myself. Do let me know in the comments what you thought of today. Do leave some messages in the chat room, oh, we've got a message there. Thank you. Oh, you're most welcome. You're most welcome. And do leave me messages in the divine inspiration there, and and hopefully I'll see you for the new moon meditation that's going to be coming up soon. I've got a great one written out, but I might do the birch one. I shall see. I shall wait and see. Anyway, thank you very much. Bright blessings to you all, and good night.